No, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong number.
See?
I think we went through the veterans, child advocacy, and on page 42 of the budget.
I've got earmarked, we're coming back to elections.
We are coming back to elections.
Okay.
Let's, if you don't mind, I guess since we're on turn to, we can do either one.
Whatever, I mean, I just earmarked.
Yes,
opened it.
yes, and I had talked to Renee. All right, let's go back to elections. That's
That's the first one I
610.
have,
610.
page 33.
33.
I think that's the first one I had earmarked.
Okay.
Go back. No, there's.
All right, we went through all of the information that she had attached, and most of that was for the machines that we already had bought, and poll books that we already had bought. And so I guess the biggest issue is the second page after Fund 33, if you're looking at the requests in the back. And that is agreements and leases, and that is for the poll book software, for the units themselves, the voting machines, and get that Vista,
Yes, ma'am, the Vista.
pardon?
The Vista was, and the Vista DM3 or whatever was in there. And all those agreements I'd added in there with it.
Right, and the total of that is $23,760 for agreements and leases, but that is for all the stuff we already have. And then going down to election expense on 610-444, we looked back at that and talked about the fact that we're going to have a November election. We don't have any primaries in this year.
Right.
And so she looked at that and thought probably we could reduce that from 35 to 15,
Mhm.
since this year is, you know,
It's gonna be
thinking
kind
back
of-
about what's within each year.
Right.
And so that's kind of what we came up with, is 15,
Mhm.
which would work for that.
Yes, ma'am.
And other than that,
Take his 35 out.
change it to
Change it.
to
Change
it.
15.
I do want to speak about the schooling that we talked about yesterday, our education.
Uh-huh.
I went back and I looked at the past law seminars that they've offered, and the way it's not just for election administrators, it's also for the voter registrar people. And so what it is every day they offer 3 different courses in 3 different, different times. And so if Sherry were to go with me every year, she would go and learn voter registrar laws. I would be in the election administrator area. So I would think it'd be very helpful if both of us go to the schooling together, because it's not just for election administrators, it's also for the voter registrar people that go there too, because they do have different laws and different things they need to learn also. Because we had discussed just one person going every year after she and I go this
Is it
week.
held at the same time for that?
Sir?
Is it held at the same?
Yeah, around August, the end of July, first part of August, it's a 3-day seminar. And it's basically for EAs and voter registrars. And so what it is like, say 9 o'clock, you separate and you go to different classes.
Okay.
And then they also have another one in December, but it's just for schools, cities, and other subdivisions. And then that one's strictly for EAs and the county stuff, so.
Is it on here?
Education, 481.
How much would we have to add to the?
It's 3,500, right?
That is for 2.
That was for 2. And we discussed it, and we decided one needed to go every year, but then I went back and started looking. I think it's gonna be very helpful if she goes, because of the fact that there's a lot of stuff about the voter registrar system, and the way they do things, and that DMS is there too, those people are there, and you go through little schoolings for that too, updatings and stuff.
So was that 3,500 covered?
Yes.
Renee, can she not, use that chapter 19, because I know y'all, we've got that budgeted in there, and, she's put it in other expense, so y'all can use this amount. Can she not transfer some of that up there to conference expense, and then get reimbursed, because she can't
Yes.
get reimbursed on?
Yes, I think we can. I think we can do that with schooling. And she's more with that chapter 19 than I, because she keeps up with it. She does a really good job with that. So,
And so I'm thinking that, because I know in the past when they went, I remember when Audra was here, she'd send the paperwork into the Secretary of State, and then we would get reimbursed. And so, we can put some of that in the conference expense of this right here, where she's got it in other expense. We could put some of
In the
that
conference.
in the conference
She said
expense.
3,500 was enough for both of them together, and that's what's in there. In the education line.
in our education line,
Right, but I'm talking about on chapter 19.
we could use that money from chapter 19
for
her.
So
Yeah.
reduce that education amount?
We could
We
reduce
could.
that, because we're gonna, and then we can put the Sherry's in here in conference expense on, in chapter 19, and then we'll get that reimbursed.
Yeah, let's do that.
Reduce it to what amount? Half of it?
Probably half of it.
Well, the education.
Yeah, I have it like $16.91 per person. That's including the hotel, the travel, the luncheon, the food expense and everything, so,
Say 1,800 then.
okay. I sent Beth the expense of the election workers. Did you get that?
Yes, thank
And
you.
also I sent her the judges for the
Yes.
precincts. Did you get that also?
Yes, that'll be on the next agenda.
Okay, just making sure. And I want to ask for a raise for Sherry. She's been my clerk since December, but she's not only my clerk, she's also the voter registrar. She does everything as far as that voter registrar system goes. And she does an awesome job. So she takes care of my stuff, doing all my letters to all my judges. She helps with the elections. She helps with all the equipment on the elections, but also then in turn, she gets everything done with that whole system, doing the cards out, sending the cards out, and everything else. And I mean, she works extremely hard at what she does. And I've looked around at what other voter registrars make, and she's well below what she needs to be making for a voter registrar. So she's making like 27.2 right now, and most of them are making 35.5.
And we are working on the office, trying to get all of that lined out.
And I appreciate that. That's very exciting for us.
I don't think we have any information back on that yet, do we?
No, ma'am.
We wanted to talk about telephones.
I think we're okay right now with it, being that it's gonna be a slow year this next year. I think we're fine with that on the telephone business. And I did talk to Mr. Guy, I guess, yesterday about his business over at the new area. And he said whenever we get ready, he will come and get us and we'll go over there and discuss what he needs to be doing, which I don't have to do, but whatever. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks.
What was the next one we had?
Well, right behind it, we had the capital outlay. Or not, whatever this is. 34 right behind it, we said we'd come back, I think that was on that building still going.
Yes, okay. I don't think we're quite ready, we haven't got figures on that. All right, and then the next one,
We skipped Renee's too. That was back further.
We'll come back. Yeah, we'll come back.
I got 42.
yes, that's where I was to. All right, now, on 42, we have, starting with 670, 451, we have the different entities that we have been funding money to help with their projects.
Nobody's asked for anything more than last year, is that right?
Well, yes. I know you, would you come and make a few copies here? We've got a few things in. For the historical commission and the railroad. You'll make copies of those. Did you make copies and put them in books? I thought they did.
But maybe not. Could be in the list.
And so it should have been right after that number 14. If you don't mind, just remember, copy of that.
Take those keys and start bidding.
Yeah, there's not nothing that's replaced.
Okay, if you'll make copies of those, I'll put them in. All right, now, CASA has requested $15,000. They are establishing an office for Freestone and Limestone, and they're asking the same amount for Freestone and for Limestone because they now will not be a part of the Bryan College Station
Right.
CASA. I did talk to the CPS judge, and he said that it was very beneficial for the children that come through the CPS system. Because when they have a case, he appoints a CASA person that goes to the home and visits with the children and the parents and gathers information from, like, they go to the school, see how the children are doing, and just anything that the CPS judge needs information about for the CPS judge to make a better decision on how to work with these children.
And that CASA worker is a volunteer.
As a volunteer. But with these funds, they would have someone that does a lot of the paperwork, have kind of an administrative part that does the paperwork. The attorneys that I've talked to that do CPS work say that, because we were wondering, they were saying it would save money in those areas, and I didn't really understand how it was, since, anyway, the attorney said if they had a good CASA worker visiting the children and keeping up with all that information, and then the CASA worker would visit and pass that along to the attorneys, and that saved time for them having to go out and visit the families and do all that. We have to pay them by the hour if they do it. So they were, they thought it was really beneficial for the children.
So that could potentially save us money in our child and the children.
Yes, the attorney fees.
Attorney fees.
Plus it being really, I think, good, a good service for the children. And those are children that need all the help we can give them.
Yep.
So I'm requesting that we try this and see if it doesn't produce discussion that we had with the judge was, I know I've seen and heard in some counties where, it was pretty, often that they recommended that the kids be removed from the home. And the judge said, well, they just give a recommendation. And we realize that, taking them away from their family is not always the best solution, because they may be in a family that has more money and more affluent, but it's not their family. If they can fix their family, that is what their main purpose, or that's what, is a big issue, that they try to look at that and see what they can do to help that situation. Okay, so you've got the railroad. When I first looked at it, I saw 77,000. But they're asking for 20,000 for this time. And I know last time when they came, they asked for 15,000, but that was for a different project, so.
So 5,000 more than last year.
And see, before that, we were giving them 1,000 a year, just to help with their utilities and things. We can ride with that. Yeah.
And y'all had been giving them the 1,000
Sorry, we had.
up till last
Yes, but we were,
Hey, we redone.
year.
Yeah.
I know they're kinda got a new bunch, kinda
Yeah, Molly and,
sell it.
Sally.
I think a new board. and they're
Yeah.
I mean,
working
they
on
were
trying
sure
to-
trying to round up, they're working at it, trying to round up.
Trying to preserve. And again, I know I probably said this last year, this is a one-time request. It's not that we are deciding to do that every year.
But we're gonna have, we better do it this
Yeah, we
year,
better do
but
it
might
this
not be
year.
able to do it next year.
Yeah, I think.
All right, they're asking for 20. Do you think we can do 20 for this year? All right. Streetman has not contacted us. They have that historical church that they have been repairing, or is in much better shape now, but they have been requesting that they give us a little assistance. We've been doing $1,000 a year.
What line are they on?
Pardon?
451.
451. We kind of went backwards on that, sorry. Can we do 1,000 again? All right. Freestone County Fair Association,
When did y'all start giving them money?
last year.
That's what I thought.
Yes, yes. And,
I don't.
yeah. And they did have a wonderful event last year. And with the way the expenses and things are going, they are asking again if we can help them for this next year.
So not asking for any more.
Or same amount, we could help them again for this year.
What they spend that on, what they spend that money on, advertising and?
Advertising,
Or entertainment.
No,
How was it specified?
no,
Entertainment,
our-
right?
ours was advertising. And they did say that, by us contributing, that, of course, then they can go to the city and other places and say, well, the county is helping, so will y'all help? And that kind of helps them, maybe help gather up a little more money.
I'm in for the same amount. On the rest of it.
You know, and there again, I guess we can say, this money, we did have this additional money that we got from the ARPA funds, but we're not saying that we can do this every time, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I'll be quiet.
Well, I think that'll be the same thing we'll have to look at next year, you know, because, well, anyway, you know. Teague Historical, oh, I'm sorry, the Fairfield Museum allowance, we have been doing 10,000 for quite a while on them. They have sent us a little brochure.
They're extra for,
They're requesting 15. It says this year we are again requesting 15.
does it say they're requesting?
Yes, right at the top.
Yes, now,
First,
only, it says only,
only 15.
only.
Yes. It looks like a few years ago, they had requested, I don't even remember what that was for, an additional $615.60, which we did
2020.
do, but
Mm-hmm.
are we gonna continue with the 10? Or are we going to, do something different?
When we go with the 10, if they need something later, they can always come back. I mean, that's just a suggestion. They identify what they're gonna spend the 10 on.
Well, they do have a lot of buildings down there to maintain.
Didn't somebody break in there? Did I hear that? Somebody broke in there and got some stuff? We ever recover any of it?
Fairfield PD working it, but no.
When was that? I don't remember.
I just read something. So,
No, it's longer now.
Longer now?
3 months maybe. Yeah, somebody went in there and got like a old, well, got somebody's teeth.
Oh, somebody,
Yeah, so somebody's dentures and an old peel box out of one of the cabinets.
Sound like a meth head, didn't have the teeth, and then you see.
you go out and get that.
Yeah, yeah.
We would check with all the dentists around, see if somebody turned any dentures in.
is that a quarter a day?
All right. The Veterans Park. When they were first building, we had done a larger contribution, but we've, in the last few years, just mainly been doing $2,500 to help with maintenance. Okay.
What did we do to Tig, historical history, whatever it is, 458? We gonna leave it 1,000?
I
What
don't
you
know,
said?
I don't know if, they were, when they were doing the, hotel,
Yeah.
redoing that,
Yeah.
they had requested for assistance, but I don't think we've heard anything from them in a while.
They pretty well got that finished, I think,
Mhm.
because they're kicking around selling it.
Really?
I heard that,
You
I
got
gotta be
it.
careful.
You got it.
No. But I think, I may keep my mouth shut.
Probably, yeah.
I've heard something about that. Why?
It's a very nice,
Scratch that.
Did they ask, have they requested any money done?
There's been zero requests.
all right. If there's not anything else on that page, then we will go to Central Appraisal District, and Dan has already left us.
He said that, he had to run back to the
Has
office.
left the building,
He
okay.
said I can call him, he'd come back over.
No, I just need to look and I can do, well, let's see.
What page is it
That is page, well, it's too long, it's 43, I think. I'll just need to look and see with this change, if that is gonna change our, it's not like it's anything we have anything to do with, all we do is send money. Whatever they say, so let's see. I don't know that I've gotten an update, but there probably will be an update on that Central Appraisal District amount, now that they've got the figures. But usually that doesn't come till a little later for that correct. We always have to make an amendment, because they don't have that at the time. All right, page 44.
Page 4.
Do you have a copy of the request from the ambulance service?
I did this over in the barn.
Yes, that's it. All right. Fairfield sent a request, saying that basically they appreciate the ambulance, but when you look at the current operating expenses, the, fuel and everything that has, here it is, increased so much. You wanna look through their information real quick? They have 3 ambulances, a 2018, a 2019, and a 2021.
We fix them all, do we? For 250-some thousand,
60.
265.
There's some, yes, on page 8, there are notes. So if we have a question about one that has a little number beside it, like on page 6, there's a number 5.
Wages.
numbers and study them, and we'll come back to that at the next budget hearing. All right, let's go to number, page 45, fire prevention.
Judge Grant, let me get started on that. Southern Oaks, you know, have this fire truck to come in. And so it was at the beginning of last year, and it hasn't come in this year. We've sent a message, and we're trying to find out if they think it's gonna come in. If it doesn't, we're probably gonna have to budget for that. They'll get, it's a match, but we're still gonna have to pay for it all.
And how much is our match part?
I'll have to look, I just saw my name, it's probably like 16 or 20,000.
Okay, and that, so we've got 20 in it right now. We need to check on that, and by the next one, if it hadn't come in, and I think it's not till next time, we might need to increase that some.
Yes.
Okay, will you take care of that for me?
Yes.
Was that the 590 that's on here? The 75,000?
No.
No, that's for things they buy through the year.
Okay.
The grant match is the 208. And I mean, we've got 75 for capital outlay and 50 for other expense. On the capital outlay, I feel like we've pretty much bought most every kind of equipment and stuff that they need. Do you think so?
Is that where we buy the tires and stuff? out of?
Yes, all the
Yeah,
ones.
you-
Not capital outlay, that's out of other.
Oh, other expense, yeah.
Capital outlay.
Now,
Well-
Andy, do you have something?
Yeah, I've got a, we did some work on one of the truck, county truck, and they did a bunch of upgrades on it. Probably been 6 months, Karen, before they got complete with it. And they saved, or they didn't spend all the money that we allowed, $2,500 saved. What they requested is some more bunker gear. Mine is $2,500 to it. $4,920.25. The city had bought some, and the county bought some, and they bought some. I think it's just 2.
Okay, which city is that now?
Fairfield.
Fairfield.
The city of Fairfield bought 2. The fire department itself bought 2, and we'd like to have 2 more cities.
Was that in the ARPA request?
No, this
No.
is new.
No, okay. All right.
This is new.
I just remember we were getting bunker here for somebody. Okay.
Get some street.
Southern Oaks.
Southern Oaks, okay.
Where we get some street.
SCBA repairs.
Do we want to get that through the ARPA money, or do we want to do it through the
I'm
budget?
gonna check for you. I don't know about that.
It's definitely a big problem with the ARP money.
I think, yeah, let's do it out of that ARP money.
Okay.
So when he turns in the bids for the ATV or the quotes,
Okay.
then why don't we just put that with it and see what that total is then?
Okay, good.
And it should still be less than some other fire departments, so I'm sure. Should be fine.
Yeah. All right, now, the 75 is for capital outlay, any, you know, large equipment or anything or that we would buy. And then line 650 is 50,000. That is other expense, that is gas and that kind of stuff.
That's what we're running short this year, right?
Yeah, we'll move on.
Fuel, tires, repairs.
Yeah. What is being paid, we used to pay a lot of that out of the road and bridge. Is any being paid out of road and bridge now?
I'm still.
Wheels,
furnishing
fuel, and Andy's fuel.
Uh-huh.
Still furnishing fuel.
I'm still finding fuel for work.
Okay.
We need to get that changed. We're gonna follow.
Well, we're in the process
Getting that
of
changed.
talking to them about getting their tank to come out
If
of
we're
here.
gonna do that, then we may need to increase that from 50,000. How much is that fuel usually a year for working? Any idea?
Probably 10,000 maybe.
There ain't no way of tracking ours.
Oh, that's right.
There ain't no way.
I
I mean, they're out there, I mean, I'm not, they're getting it, but
Yeah.
if they have a fire in the city of Teague, they refuel in the city. If they go outside the city limits, they refuel at barn. But they don't buy gas from, they don't use any gas, it's just diesel, because he wants fresh gas for everything, and our gas is, I mean, big. But mainly diesel, that's what we're furnished. But they got quite a few units.
And the other part of that is if somebody has a fire in your area and they don't have any fuel, they're gonna get some fuel from wherever they can get it.
Yeah. We were talking about, been talking to Winters about setting a tank up, a 500-gallon tank at the fire station. And the works talking about all that, where they can start getting it up.
That's what I like to do.
And if they run short, they can still come to barn, if it's a week, you know, if something runs out, but that'd be a little handier for them. They're trying to find a spot to put it right now. I talked to Jody yesterday.
Okay. I think we're gonna need to increase that a little bit then.
So,
Maybe. All right, then, senior services. She has a little printout on the back. She's asking for a pay increase for part-time. Your cooks make $10 an hour. She's asking maybe increase to 12.
I do think that we give raises to full-time employees in this county. I do think that some part-time is a little bit low. We look at cost of living increases, inflation. Realize if you do it for one department, other departments don't ask, but I do think it's something we should really consider because some of those people, I'm sure that that's their only source of income. And they all know it costs more to eat, get to work.
All right.
12.
So can we move that to 12? All right, Jeannie, that would change probably to 54,000 then, because it'd be a 20% increase on the part-time now. Well, no, some of them wouldn't get that.
Oh, the managers?
The managers already make more than that, I think. Well, they have 2 senior managers, and a butler and Teague, and they make $8 an hour.
Yeah, I think they're cooks.
And they don't work that many hours, so you want to raise those to $12?
Yes.
All right, so we all, and then I think that would, maybe we change that to 54,000. If you'll make enough and change your payroll sheet on that. Other than that, expenses are just going up, and that's just the way that works. Raw food, but now,
That's 25% increase, I bet it's ever been in that groceries.
I just wonder if they're a typo or something,
Could be, wait a minute, refund.
you think it would have went up instead of down.
That's one in this book here.
It's the same one you copied today and the copy we got last week. 9,562.
Yeah, the one we had today is here.
Well,
The other one is over there.
I think she transferred some money
Okay.
into consumables. Because see, if you, yeah, it was 4,000 budgeted in 22, and then money was transferred in to make it 6,000. But there is another fund that they get money from, another fund 86, that they can buy some consumables out of. All right. We kind of talked about that. I'll talk about the changes. Now, we got our information, and you have a copy of that from the Central Appraisal District, showing the increase. There is an increase. Last year, our value was,
I don't think they have a copy.
Here we go. No, what we have over there.
Just it. It's in the packet that we got.
She just handed it out just for.
I just handed that one out. Is it when you need something?
I want to go with two, if you want one.
Oh, you have two? All right, maybe that's what happened, okay, sorry. Now, the certified net taxable value is $2,938,000,000. Last year, it was $2,378,000,000. And since there's an increase, our no new revenue rate is lower. Because if the value goes up, then the no new revenue rate goes down. And the no new revenue rate is 0.318204. So that's the amount that would, well, there are a lot of calculations that go into it, but supposedly that's the rate that would bring in the same amount that we did last year. Now, the voter approval rate is 0.370019. If you go above the voter approval rate, then that triggers an election on the tax rates. And so we need to be somewhere between those two rates. Now, if we are 3.7, then that is still less than last year's, which was 39375. So if we did 3.37, we're about
Doing a third.
2.4, if we did 3.1.
if we did, last year's was 39375.
Right.
And this year's, if we did 0.37, then that still is a lower rate than what we had last year. And that would not trigger the voter approval having to be put into an election. Voter approval rate is less than that. And with that, I took what we had done last year as far as, you know, the first one that we had, the figure we had in the tax, ad valorem tax collections was the same as what we had last year. But if we leave this at 0.37, then that could be divided between the general fund and the road and bridge fund, and the general fund would then be, and you can look at that at the new printout that we have on there, and this is just a starting spot, would be rather than 7 million, I have to count backwards on that, those big numbers, you know. Rather than it being 7 million, it would be 8 million in the general fund. And then the road and bridge, each precinct would go up from 537 to 587.
I'm gonna have to tweak theirs, because I misunderstood on that note when I redid theirs. I misunderstood, so they will have to, I'll have to redo their budgets.
What
I thought it was transferring in, I thought that's what we were doing, is the transferring in, but I just need to change the ad valorem taxes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
So every 1 cent we change the budget is how much money?
$293,000.
293,000.
And we can look at the budgets, and if we can reduce road and bridge, I mean, general funding, then we could change more over to the road and bridge. I haven't even looked at it that closely yet, because we made some changes this morning. Let me see, where's that figure?
I think the main, like if we just totaled out of the different departments that use this, but if we looked at raw food between senior services and the jail, and we looked at fuel, sheriff's department, and road and bridge, tires for every county vehicle, and because that increase from last year is going to be pretty substantial. But I think it would help us get to what we need to be at.
Well, and,
Yeah.
All saying from 63 to 82.
yeah.
So it's
Well, and on this one, we've tried to put all those changes into this newest one that we've just given you. So look at that, you can see where the changes are, and then we can start adjusting. Now, we have to file by the end of the month a proposed budget. But you know, we still keep,
That's the end of August,
no, in July,
the next day.
the proposed. But then we'll still have some meetings and be changing some things, this will give you a chance.
Are we all agree on the 37?
Well, we're gonna talk about that next, yeah.
Well, what about what's the 10-day deal? It's got some, in it 10 days prior to,
Has to be posted
okay,
and all of that, yes.
okay.
Yeah, and we're not gonna adopt until I don't have the calendar here, but what is the date, Beth, about the 19th? What date are we adopting?
I think so, the budget I gave the budget calendars out there, up there.
The calendar is up here. It was in all that paperclip stuff, right? Here it is, right there, I'm sorry, yes. Okay. All right, I will post this budget as, you know, it's a proposed budget, and then we're gonna have a meeting on the, a meeting on the 3rd, and a meeting on the 10th, and then on the 17th is when we will adopt. We can put another meeting in there if you need it. The 3rd, the 10th, and the 17th. And there will be changes that we need to make, we know that, but we have to get it posted.
Third regular meeting, right?
3rd what?
Third's regular.
That Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the 17th is a regular meeting, so we're having an extra meeting on the 10th, right in between
Okay.
those 3 Wednesdays.
day, do we know yet what day we all have to be here to adopt the budget? Do we know that for sure?
You won't be here on
No,
that?
no, I said, what day do we all have to be here?
That is the third, the
The
17th.
17th? Okay.
Yes, yeah. Mhm. Okay, we discussed some changes that we made. There will be a few changes, you know, that we made today that are not in there, but just like the 110 on the food, that's in there already. And, you know, we put in the changes we talked about increasing the autopsies a little bit and changing the part-time in a couple of places. We changed the election expense. Some are up, some are down. So if, you see what the certified values are, we talked about that. So let's talk about the tax rate and vote on a proposed rate. And this needs to be a record vote, so this will need to be a separate paragraph down there. And usually, what we try to do is to put our proposed rate at the highest amount that we could do. That way, we've already got that in place and we wouldn't have to publish again for the
We want to lower it.
We could lower it without it being a problem if we wanted to lower it. So if we put it at, I know last time our rate was 0.43 something, and then we ended up with a 0.39 is what we decided after we looked at everything. So we can go down, but I don't think we want to go above that 0.37.
Yeah, we need to look to see where we can go to, where the law work, where we get as low as possible.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We can always go below the 3.7, we just can't go above that.
Right,
So we could put the proposed tax rate
at 0.37.
at 0.37, and then we could always lower it, but we can't go above that, because that constitutes.
I mean, you can, but
You
if
can,
you do
but
like
it
the last time, we
constitutes
have to republish and do all of this
Well,
stuff.
It
So,
also constitutes an election.
yeah, if you go above the 0.37.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we go with the 0.37.
Second.
And the motion is to set the proposed tax rate at 0.37. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye. That's everyone voted, so that passes. Now, I'm going to announce the date of the meeting to vote on the tax rate is August the 17th at 9 o'clock. And that'll need to be a separate paragraph too. And I'm announcing that the public hearing on the proposed tax rate will be on August the 10th at 9 o'clock.
Tenth is the hearing.
Yep.
Public hearing will just be in the regular meeting. Mhm. Let me look at this just a minute. Yeah, the notice of the public hearing on the budget, we have to publish that 10 to 30 days before the hearing, and we will have that in the next paper. And then the notice on the public hearing on the tax rate has to be published at least 5 days
Yeah.
before. And so we'll get that in this next paper too, when it'll be published. All right.
Rick, thinking about something. Laura and I talked to Dan yesterday, 38 million still out under protest. And at 37 cents, we figured that's 140,000.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know, we're gonna collect part of that,
We are.
not that much,
Mhm.
but,
There's some value there though.
yeah, that's a value, yeah.
If you want to raise it, what we're basing it on, we can do that. we've usually done it just to be conservative,
Sure.
to know that we brought in as much money as what we,
Think we're-
Dan and I talked about that the day before.
Yeah.
Mhm. And if you look at what, the appraisal district sent, it says that on the front page, but when you look at that next page, at the bottom, it says net taxable value is the 2938. And so that's what I usually use, is that net taxable value,
Right,
and not include that certifiable amount in there.
right.
So, because we don't collect even all that all we say is our value, we don't collect all of that. So, if some of that certifiable goes in there, then maybe that puts it up about to what we budgeted. Well, we can use that if we want to do that.
Our collection rate is good, I know that. We got, we're 96 acres, almost 97%. Better than
It's
anybody.
usually 95 to 97, yeah. All right. Well, if you have something new to look at, if you want to throw the old ones away, you can compare the old ones to these, and you can see what the changes are. I have a little printout of kind of what the changes are, but they're what we talked about. The first one was changing the our tax collection amount, then we added that 2,000 on the facility fee. I changed the hot top from 28,000, this is income, to 24,500, because that's what Jeannie had found out from the people at Hot Dog. 24,500 is our figure. And then, there was some other revenue added in for, I don't remember what it is now. But then we talked about increasing autopsies a little bit, and I changed that, changing the part-time in 600 to 15,000 rather than 12, and I think that was probably, extension from 12,500 to 15,000. Leases and agreements, we changed on, elections at 610. When Renee and I went over that amount, it was, instead of 30,000, it was 23,760. And then the election expense, 15,000, because we didn't have that, want her to have a primary, wasn't going to be quite as much as what she had. And then, part-time on, for Leonard, we went up to 22,600. Purchase services in 670, we talked about that a few minutes ago. And then the transfers out, all right. On the, what's that number, 47? No,
Fund 47. The supplemental, the state supplemental.
no, on the dispatch, what's that number?
98.
98? 98. All right, we're working on that joint dispatch. If it does work out, we decided to put it in a separate, special fund so that you can see exactly how much was being used and see if it was a benefit to the county. And so I just budgeted probably higher than need be, but on the, in that fund for what we would be contributing, the most we would be contributing is what the dispatcher expense is.
For
That's
our
now,
current budget,
for our
budget.
current budget. And it should be less than that. If it's not gonna be less than that, then we're not gonna wanna do it. But just to get the figures, because it'll have to be in the budget. So, that's not saying that we're gonna do it. It's in there, but we're still working on it and negotiating on it. But it wouldn't be more than what, like Jeremy and I have talked about. It's not gonna save us any money, we're not gonna do it. But anyway, put those figures in, so if it does work out, we have that in there. We show that as a transfer, but it won't be a transfer if it doesn't work out.
Page 10,
Page 10.
page 10, that .16 fuel. for the
Yes,
VA.
I've talked to him about that. He's gonna get back to me with that. He's working on what that figure should be. I talked to him about that.
I drive over 300 miles a day at 16 miles a gallon, 5 days a week, 52 weeks.
And I did,
$7,200 more than what I get. I burn the rough.
talked to him about, and he said it might be that they did have some in for, some of the people in their office that have to travel somehow to do things. So I told him we need to change that, that's the fact, but we need to look at that, and he hadn't gotten back to me yet.
PTI, things focused on pre-trial litigation.
Yes, yes. Use it for that, use it for that.
I like it, PTI.
All right, what else? Go through and see whatever other questions you have, and then we can look at what we might can adjust. I know that we can adjust that capital outlay some. We just need to decide on what we're gonna do on capital outlay, and then we'll work on that figure. But the other thing, if we budgeted too much, that will still just stay in. All right, anything else? I don't know. What?
The budget that you gave us, we throw it away.
Yes.
Throw it away.
Want to put my own little thing in there so I know it was just one.
What else? Again, if we can look at it and maybe save some money in the general fund, then we could put a little more into the bridge fund. All right, what else?
I got one up here, please.
Good, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make that